So today I'm going to show you how to use a really cool, interesting technique called visible mending. And today we're going to mend a broken pocket on this denim jacket. So what you'll need to do that is some yarn. Choose a nice colour if you want. I chose a beautiful green one. Some scissors, a needle that's the right size to thread the yarn into, and a pin. If you're wondering which is the right size of needle to use for your thread, the thread should pass quite easily through the needle, and that's the right size. So when you're then using the needle on the fabric, as long as it's not leaving massive holes, that would indicate that the needle's too big, then it should be just right. So first step, you want to get the pin to secure the pocket in place where it would have been originally. So now the pocket's secured in place, you get your thread, tie it about the length of your arm, and then the easiest way to get started is to just do a double knot. So one simple knot, and then repeat the knot, and then snip that off. Okay, so now I'm starting from the back, and I'm gonna start from the bottom of the pocket. I'm gonna start from the side that doesn't have the pocket on, just because that bit of fabric's a bit thinner, it's easier to get your needle through. So you want to start and go upwards, and I'm gonna do this at a 45-degree angle, and back down so that I've done a simple tacking stitch over the pocket. Right, so that's the first step. Now you just repeat this all the way up to the very end of the pocket. You don't have to be too neat and precise with this, because the part of the fun with visible mending is that it is very creative. So you can afford to play around with the size and the angles of your stitches. Now I'm doing my stitches roughly a centimetre apart. And then I'm just making sure to be conscious that I'm not leaving any loops on the underside of the fabric. Now it'll be a bit difficult when I'm at the top because this bit of the fabric's quite thick. And now on the last one. Now repeat the process again, but working the other way at a cross angle to form a cross stitch. Again, this just gets stuck because this part of the fabric, because of the seam, it's very thick. Okay. Now continue this process all the way into the end, so all the little running stitches are crossed. Now the last little one to tick off, cross off. Now I've done my complete cross. I can take the pin out to see it's nice and secure, be able to hold your hands in there again. And now if we go back to the back of the fabric, this is the underside. I'm just going to do a little knot as close to where the thread comes out as possible. I'll repeat that. And now it's nice and secure, I can snip it off close to the knot. And there you go, that's the pocket. now I'm going to show you how to repair a hole you have in a garment using the visible mending technique. So to use a visible mending technique to fix your garment, you're going to need a yarn or a thread, some scissors, a coin, a pencil, and a needle. So the visible mending technique I'm going to show you can be used on an array of different garments such as trousers, shirts, jackets. It could also be used in textile products you'd have in the interior such as cushions or blankets. So first things first, I'm going to use the coin to put over my hole and to draw a circle around the outline. Then I'm going to use the scissors to cut into the circle. Then I'm going to get a length of the thread again, the length of my arm, snip it. Then I'm going to start off by doing a double knot, trim the end of the thread off, and thread the needle. I'm going to bring the needle up from the back of the fabric about a centimetre away from the hole. Then I'm going to do a second stitch to the left of the stitch, and I'm going to hold on to a loop, and then I'm going to bring the needle up through the centre of the hole to catch the loop. Now this is the start of my stitch. Now this stitch is called a blanket stitch, so I'm going to go back in to a centimetre away from the inside of the circle, about half a centre away from my first stitch, and going from the front down into the fabric, then holding onto the loop of fabric and bringing the needle up through the centre of the hole, through the loop, and then that's catching your stitch. Now, and try and tighten it. Now I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to punch the needle in to my right of my previous stitch, about a centimetre away from the hole, and then I'm going to bring the needle back up through the centre of the hole, through the loop of thread, and then tighten it. So this is a blanket stitch. I'm going to repeat the process. So again, that is bringing the needle down from the front of the fabric to the back, about a centimetre away from the edge of the circle, and about half a centimetre away from my previous stitch. But all this is just for this specific one. You can adjust that depending on your taste, so you can do the loops closer together or further away as your preference. So. Making sure that as I move along, I'm making sure that the yarn is still tight around the fabric, but not too tight as to pucker the circle. as I get ready to close the loop. I'm going to do my last stitch now. Catch the loop up, and then I'm going to go back through the first loop, and then I'm going to do a little securing stitch back through the fabric this time, so it blends in with my original stitch. And then as we move back to the underside of the fabric, I'm going to double knot it and trim close, and then that's it. As you can see, we've done our blanket stitch around the circle and made a nice decorative feature around this hole. But if you want to close up that hole and you no longer want to be able to see through it, I'll show you how to do that in the next video. So in the last video I showed you how to stop and start a blanket stitch around the hole in the jacket, but for this technique we're going to continue on repeating the same stitch to fill in the hole on our jacket. So we're starting where we left off. Our thread is coming away from the fabric. I'm going to catch the needle on the first stitch we made, but not in the fabric this time, just on the outside. So can you see it's slightly caught in there? And then I'm going to go back into making sure I'm going into the loop. So that's inside the loop now that I've created. And now. So again, I repeat the same process round and round. That's what's really good about this technique. It is just repeating the same process. So I'm going with the needle, catching the loop of the stitch to my right, going back up into the loop of the thread, and then making sure I pull just the right amount, that it's nice in place. So again, as you can see, it might be better this way. So I'm putting in the thread inside the loop of the stitch to my right, creating a loop, and then I'm bringing the needle through that loop and then pulling it tightly in place. Okay, so now we're back at our start point. Repeat the same process again, going round, but this time on top of our previous stitch. So I'm catching the previous top layer of stitch, making sure I'm pulling it as I go along. Okay, and now I'm back to the top again, and then repeat it again, catching onto the very edge of the first stitch. It gets quicker and quicker as you go in because the hole starts getting smaller. So now we're back to the start. We've filled in our hole in our jacket, and I'm going to bring the thread back to the back. And now from the underside, I'm going to bring the thread up to the edge of the jacket. And then double knotting it to secure in place. Now trim it off close to your knot. And there you go. I'm going to show you how to turn a beloved childhood t-shirt into a work of art. Now this is great if your child has outgrown their t-shirt but you don't want to part with it. So I'm going to show you how you can frame that. So this is a really great project to do with your kid. Get your kid involved, they'll love making this. It's nice and easy and simple. You don't need any specialist equipment. It's all equipment I guarantee you will already have in your home. All you'll need to do that is a frame, some scissors, a pencil, and masking tape, but if you don't have that, you can still use sellotape. Now first thing, take the back off your frame. This is going to act as a guide for us to trace around. And then I'm going to position the frame with the glass around my picture just to work out roughly where I want it to look, how I want it to look in the frame. Okay. And then I'm going to use the back of the frame to trace around. So I'm going to turn the t-shirt inside out. Now I'm making sure that the print is on the top. So I lined it up nice and flat, and then I'm going to position the back of our frame over that and try to judge where it's going. So, okay. So I'm looking on the inside, I'm putting the edge of the frame roughly where I wanted it to go on the picture. So I've had a look where my frame roughly is. I'm going to use the masking tape to roughly mark out the area so that the masking tape goes over the edge of where I want the frame to be. So making sure it's nice and flat, you don't want any wrinkles in it. Add. So now my masking tape is in place, I'm going to put the back of the frame over the masking tape, get it lined up, and then I'm going to draw around the edge. So now I've got my masking tape and I've drawn a nice clear outline that I can cut into. So with the scissors, I'm going to cut the fabric along my outline. So as you can see, my nice little Paddington is cut round into a square. I'm going to turn the frame back over. Put my square of fabric in. Put the back of the frame in place. And ta-da! Ready to go on your kid's wall.